VR is hard to talk about. Although I spent my last video talking about how great VR is, there are still some bad things to be said. And one of those things is that there's just not a lot to be said. Damn, I sound like a philosopher. Before we continue, please like and subscribe. I need income. Preach. Usually me and many other VR content creators say similar things. VR is extremely underrated and is only starting to get really good and worth it. While I am not denying any of those points, I want to explain a slightly different perspective I don't see often. VR is a completely different medium compared to flat screen gaming. And yes, I will be talking about strictly VR gaming. When you play an amazing VR game, it completely changes everything. If it's a good story, you feel invested and excited to play. If it has fun gameplay, which I hope it would, you again want to play. Even if it's not a story game and it's something like VR chat, there is something so cool about talking to friends or other people with physical avatars instead of FaceTiming or texting. You see all those little things going on with their body, the way some people move their hands or sway while they talk, or how they stand. These things seem small, but it is truly an experience you can't understand until you try it. But flat screen gaming has something VR doesn't seem to have: longevity. People to this day play or talk about games like Fortnite, Minecraft, Gary's Mod, and so many others. All these games were made 10 or more years ago. But when it comes to VR, a game like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stops getting talked about maybe a couple weeks after it comes out. It's the same with other big games like Deadpool or Batman. I remember Deadpool being announced. There was endless hype for it throughout the entire summer in both VR and non-VR community. When the game finally dropped, for maybe a couple weeks there were a lot of YouTube videos talking about the game, but then pretty much nothing. It is not like people forgot about this game. I still play it, and I assume a lot of people do as well, but it almost feels dead. It's strange. These big AAA games almost seem to die really quickly. It's not like there isn't enough content. There's plenty of game content and post-game content. People don't even do things like challenges for these games. Like, I don't know, 1 kill in Deadpool equals 1 piece of clothing my girlfriend takes off. I don't know. You get my point. Again, games like Minecraft, which came out 15 years ago, still is one of the most played games of all time. Actually, I guess that isn't the fairest comparison. A game like Mouse PI, a great indie game, still gets decent coverage a few months after its release. It sometimes feels like people are quick to move on to the new stuff, but for VR, new stuff could take a while. There are a few VR games that stand the test of time, like Boneworks or BoneLab, and games like VR Chat. BoneLab is carried by the mods. Everyone knows this. People only talk about the game to this day because of the constant mods that come out. This game wouldn't be around almost 4 years later if it didn't have the amazing modding community it has to this day. But the last update was almost 2 years ago, and Brandon, the maker of BoneLab, hasn't given us an update in a few months. This is also affecting the community. I've talked about this in some of my past videos, but the community as a whole has slowed down. No big new mods, and since mods are this game's soul, the game feels like it's slowly dying out. People on YouTube who primarily make BoneLab mod videos are not doing nearly as well as before. And someone like me who started as a BoneLab focused YouTuber, I've started to become more general VR related to get content ideas easier. But it's still kinda hard. It has been hard to not repeat the same things again and again in each video. My last video, the entire second half was basically me talking about The Boys finale, which is obviously not VR related. I'm sure other VR YouTubers could say similar things. Mini BattleOp is someone I get a lot of my inspiration for videos by, and although it doesn't seem like it, he may be going through the same struggle I and many others are personally going through. VR is really niche, and making that your main YouTube focus can be pretty difficult. But during times like this, it is harder. We all as a community need to bond together to try and keep these things alive. People who are not into VR won't get into it if a big VR game that they might have interest in is dead and forgotten about within like a week. And as a viewer of VR, there's a chance you could be feeling this as well. Nothing new is happening, things coming and going in an instant, and so many other things. VR is really personal as well. When a new flat screen game releases, millions of people could play it and have fun. And usually the gameplay is mostly pretty similar. But a game like Bone Lab, there's hundreds of different ways people could get through puzzles and levels, so every playthrough feels a lot more unique, especially because of the way people are handling things like combat. But also, there is the bad thing with motion sickness. A game like Bone Lab, which I personally am very used to, does lead to a lot of people getting physically sick and unable to play. Even a simpler game like Gorilla Tag can have these issues as well. And VR sometimes doesn't look as fun in a clip or video compared to actually experiencing it. And I know, me and many others have said this hundreds of times, but it is truly different when you personally experience it. I think that is also a problem. A lot of people that enjoy VR say very similar things. Everyone says VR is great but underrated, and you won't understand unless you try it yourself. I've literally said this like 20 times across my videos. It is hard to bring new ideas and be unique in this space. I hope you understand. I love to talk about VR, but a lot of the time, there isn't much to say at all. Constant repeats, games being moved on, and droughts. I love making videos, but nothing interesting is happening right now, and it feels a little bit draining. I don't want to leave for a long time and only come back with cool news or updates or something. I want to stay somewhat consistent. It feels like what I was saying was a little bit hard to explain, but I hope you guys understand my point. Hopefully I have a new video idea within a few weeks, because even this was a little bit hard to think of. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. I hope you all have a great day, and take care. Coming up with this video was a little bit difficult. At first, I was going to talk about this deep video, talk about how, are you wasting your life playing video games in VR? But I was like, that's a little bit too deep for what I'm doing, you know? And then I was like, I can't think of anything. It's getting harder and harder to come up with videos for VR. And then I was like, why not make a video addressing the problem? So hopefully I can come up with a new video within a few weeks.